When you're using pattern blocks to teach fractions, you basically want to stay within 4 colors. Those 4 colors are going to be yellow, the yellow hexagon, red, the red trapezoid, blue, the blue rhombus, and green, the green triangle. And most of the time when teachers are teaching using pattern blocks, they'll say that this represents 1. If the yellow hexagon represents 1, that means that the trapezoid represents a half. It covers half of that hexagon. We can see that the blue rhombus represents a third. It takes 3 of those to fill up an entire hexagon. And we can see that the green triangle represents a 6th. It would take 6 of those to fill up the hexagon. Now here's the problem that we're running into when teachers aren't flexible with the whole, which means what they're using as their 1. I was watching a video earlier using manipulatives with pattern blocks, and the teacher said that we know that we cannot have a 4th when we're working with pattern blocks. Well, this just isn't true, because if we went ahead and made a double hexagon or a whole, students can be able to see that, oh, instead of using 2 trapezoids, I would simply use 4 trapezoids. And there you have a 4th right there. So teachers definitely have to be flexible with what they're using as their whole, you know? It doesn't just have to stop. It doesn't just have to stop with double hexagons. You could also do a hexagon and a trapezoid and use this as your whole. So you can get lots of different numbers just by changing the whole, and this also allows your students to get a better understanding. For our purposes, we'll say that this is 1. So once students are familiar with the values that we talked about, 1/3, 1/2, you know, then they'll be able to see that if I have 2 rhombuses, that means I have 2/3. If I have 3 trapezoids, that means I have 3 halves. So this begins students to understand the layout of a fraction, wherein the numerator is telling us how many pieces we have, 2/3, the denominator 3 is telling us the worth or the value, where 3 is telling us how many we have, and the halves for 3 halves will be telling us the value of the trapezoids. You can also use pattern blocks to teach equivalencies. If we're still using this yellow hexagon as our 1, you could ask your students simply grab 2/6. So you've already discussed that 1 triangle equals a 6th. So hopefully students grab 2 triangles. If you ask them to put those 2 triangles together, you could then say, is there another piece in our pattern block set that looks similar to 2/6? Well, hopefully you'll have a student say, yeah, the rhombus, which is 1/3. You would then take the 2/6, put them on top of the 1/3, and students can visually see that 2/6 is equivalent to 1/3. So awesome way to do that. You know, you can also do it with the hexagons if you want. You know, if red's your favorite color, you could use the 1 as the whole, and students could see that 2 halves is equal to a whole. So great way to teach equivalencies. Once students get more comfortable with using and manipulating the pattern blocks, you can also begin to utilize them in more advanced ways, such as adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. You can do all of these things with pattern blocks. A simple way to add, just simply saying what is 1 and 1/2 plus a half equal. Students can easily turn that and say, oh, you know, it equals 2 wholes. So pattern blocks are just a great manipulative to have in the classroom. You can use them, you know, K through 5 and up most likely. I'm in college and we're using them. So I appreciate you all for watching. Use pattern blocks and don't be a crappy teacher. Bye.